Yeah, so like I was saying, since 2018, I got the 100% disability massage. So I had a 40% increase of my 60% of the already disability that they already estimated of my 10% for my knees, my 10% for my lower back, my 10% for my ears, and then my 10% from like yeah, it's 10% for the knee, 10% for the lower back, and 10% for the ears, and then 10% for like the face area due to a profile that I had. That's why it's like been scarred due to like my genetics, like the type of clothes that I have across the space. And that's 40%. I guess they gave me 20% for like PTSD massage, so they brought me up to like 60% in total as of a disability for like my military history and like the long-term wear and tear that I have as a human being under the American contract for the military. I didn't ask for this. That's how the system is built. When you process to, and then eventually they cover you for like your medical damage. Yeah, that they estimate automatically into the system itself, which is fair. I've been to it. I say I agree with it. So somewhere I got 60% or 70%, which was like $1,100 a month. Yeah, as my medical benefit. So we want to, yeah, since the time I left the military from like 13 years ago, and then eventually after like 5 years, when I was ready to go off and move to San Diego, they give me extra 40% that then boosts my payment. Yeah, to like double what I was making to then $3,000 a month. Right. So since 2018 to 2026, or like since 2018 to 2021 when they started this affair, yeah, well, it was less than 100 grand that the system already paid me, but at the same time you subtract the regular amount from the 60% or 70% that I was getting as a medical benefit, because of the fact that if I was still getting 60 to 70% as a medical benefit, they definitely could not argue nothing against me in the cost. Yeah, but I'm not the one that made the decision of the special medical board to go off and increase the medical benefit for like the PTSD rating to 100%. That was done by a medical professional that a specialty outside my scope there, because I'm not a medical professional that went to school to study the field of medicine. So yeah, so I left it up to the expert, that's the doctor herself and the medical professional in psychology, to go off and make the decision, and then she tell me do the diagnosis for me, to be able to tell me what is wrong with me, and then tell me what type of medical plan should I have to go off and take on to like improve my malady with the type of prescription that you will require to be able to deal with stress, because I don't know none of this stuff. That's way to like what type of like what type of like special medicine is going to interact with my neuroreceptors inside my brain over here, to be someone go off and like deal with the stress hormones inside my brain. That's a medical professional that's been certified with certification. Yeah, that has thousands of hours of like study that go off and make that decision for me over there. Well, I don't have that expertise. I leave it into his hands to go off and make that decision with a medical board that specializes into the decades of study into that field itself. Yeah, that got approved as a doctrine inside the Veterans Affairs to be able to do the proper diagnosis as a disease. Yeah, that they go off and like alleviate or cure in the process. So when he made his decision, the professional made his own decision with the medical board that reviewed it, and they approved the 40% or 30% increase of the medical care benefit over the mental disorder that the person had from the domain of warfare that you call post-traumatic stress disorder. That made him paranoid around the space and made him less trustworthy other people around the space, and give him an extra sense of danger. Yeah, that somehow affects his life. So by the time I'm in New York City, yeah, on Flatbush Avenue, I get to see a nigga get gunned down in the club. Apparently my ass decided to move out that space over here and go to another neighborhood. So by the time I'm in New Jersey over here, watching another nigga get gunned down, apparently my ass decided to move out that neighborhood and then go off to like San Diego on a beach area where I could go off and relax and clear my mind over here. And then engage into a job while I'm right next to a beach. Yeah, watching the ocean. That's very relaxing to more things. So apparently due to my stress of like wartime, apparently I move out of a certain condition that's stressful, that engages me to a paranoid state over here, or wartime, to be able to be in an area, a space where it's tranquil, to go off and like, live my life in a regular way, so I don't have to be engaged in the domain of warfare. So my story is consistent with real evidence and real chronological proof Real stuff that makes sense, that into like psychology or post-traumatic stress disorder. So by the time I get 100% from the time of 2018 to today, myself, that's about $400,000 that the government of America paid me. Yeah, they paid me $400,000 since 2018 to 2026. So by the time the federal government was looking to get back $400,000, which is not a problem for me if I was a fraud to the system to pay back, because $400,000 over like what 5 years is like, was it 2018 to 2026? Yeah. How many years is that? That's about 7 years. So 7 years. So that's not that bad, especially when I make like 150 grand as an electrician over here. Yeah, I'm an electronic, mechatronic, chemical, electromotive electrician over here. So that money for me is nothing to make because of the fact that I live off $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Yeah, even for a car and a 2 bedroom, and my fucking pets and my wife's on the side. $2,000 is all I need to like survive. So the rest of the money that I make will easily go back and like pay back the government very easily into like $400,000 or $500 over the course of 7 years. Because they always give you a nice payment plan. Yeah, with a nice payment plan from the judge. I saw it. So by the time I have my payment plan for like $400,000 back to the U.S. government over here, I saw for being a fraud to the Veterans Affairs system if I was one. I saw. Yeah, luckily I brought myself to school. I wanted to study a real skill. I could pay back the government and do like 5 years in prison if I was a fraud. So somewhere I had to try to like calculate, how did the government ever estimate that they could ever beat me in the case in the courts in America to go off and try to claim that they needed to go off and conduct a special experiment to see if the individual was still invalid from the American government over like $400,000 a month. I mean $400,000 over the course of 7 years that they could have forced the person to pay back inside of a federal system. Yeah, to the RSSR, to then go off and find an excuse to go off and like put this guy on the survival mode. That's just an example. Put this innocent man over here that was just there in the chilling with me, just by coincidence at the same restaurant that went in Starbucks, to look at the view. In my case, fall asleep because of the fact that I can't fall asleep in the hotel because these people over there will go off and use that gas that put me in survival mode or give me bodily damage. So somewhere this guy over there will go off and just be around the space by himself, just by coincidence. And then with the obsession of these special agents and this group of contractors, they'll come to use that special gas without ever getting a contract for that guy over there or this woman right here. And then they will go off and force him to go into survival mode and give him bodily damage in the process while they go off and they help themselves to then go off and use the intrusive technology which they use to go off and spam a whole bunch of images that does not comply with my religious belief at all. So they could have spammed white Jesus inside my head continuously over time, child pornography, naked children inside my head, animals being killed, cats being dismembered, birds being choked, all that shit from on top because of the fact that they heard that I had a bird and a cat, so they thought I was a psychopath that probably torturing animals. Because she had to go off and create the profile for the so-called. We believe that gamers and like people that live by themselves may have a psychological profile to go off and become dangerous, and then you mix that up with like we believe that people that live by themselves that used to serve in the military, that are not married and that are gamers could go off and become dangerous later on in the future. So we should have the process to be able to use an intrusive technology like that from the government to be able to like somewhat use it to like detect them early on and then try to like force them inside of a medical facility while they're getting the medical payment from the federal system to then go off and like put them under government care and force them to live there forever so they don't become dangerous for the society and the civilization. So that's what they did, by the way, for early prediction programming. That's flawed within the programming sector because of the fact that we don't have God inside the computer program at all. So they dumbasses we want to like use that fake stuff where they manipulate the data with like a group of Asian researchers. Definitely manipulate the data by brute force. And then spam a whole bunch of images that's like provocative to me inside my head over here that I'll never fucking look at. Or even dreams. My favorite one was a dream that they boost inside my head over here. That's way to like Lil Trent being killed in the process. Or the other one, that was my one over here with like Mr. Freezer that I can't wait to kill inside of a fucking cars. So Mr. Freezer over here decided to go off and give me a dream that's way to like a whole bunch of females stuck into a house that he goes into and he slaughtered them all. He kills them all across the space. And now Mr. Freezer over here as a white male, sitting down a whole bunch of white corpses of white females that are all being killed in the process to be able to give me a nightmare and make me wake up from it because of the fact that he read something that I wrote a long time ago about female rights and female abuse. So a female murders or something. So you assume that I'll be traumatized of the affair or like intentionally sneaking a dream inside my head over here. Yeah, that looks like a wallpaper that's animated. Yeah, with like the visuals, because you can't be in a dream over here. We have boredom or something. It's a real fucking program that they transmit. Yeah, with visuals they have a high sharpness in that. So you see the same way they go and capture. You see the same way you can capture this on video. Just imagine this type of video with that system itself being broadcast inside your brain, so you get to see the details around the space here. And you can't look away or like go elsewhere. It's a movie playing inside your head, so you're forced to read only. So you don't write in there. Only when you're up you can go off and like someone manipulate what you see inside your head and bend it around the space. So they give you a read only scenario. That's as sharp as this. Yeah, where somebody goes in and they kill an entire room full of females in there, and then sits on top of all of them, shirtless, and filled in blood. And that's the type of dreams that they go off and try to force inside my head over here to try to make me wake up in the manic fashion and scared of Mr. Freeze over here. Now, yeah, all sorts of stuff I've taught myself. So it's that type of experience that I got to live to with that team of researchers that I probably wanted to go off and see if I was a fraud to the Veterans Affairs system, which I cannot wait to meet them inside of a course in America and be like, yo, what the fuck? Do I look like I'm your friend? Does he look like he's your friend over here? What did that person over here ever have to do for you to come to release gases around the entire space area to then put him under survival mode? Did he agree to a contract? Did I agree to the contract? How is that legal, Your Honor? And just like that, I get a $50 to $100 million summit. That's why I cannot wait to catch him inside a fucking federal course.